Welcome back to Success Unscripted. Today, I want us to talk and go a little deeper into what is required of us when we actually want success. I've been doing several goal setting workshops. We're now ending, we are already probably in February when this episode airs. And I've been asking clients, what part of you has to die in order for you to get to the next level of success? Now, I know it sounds dramatic. And I think, actually, I heard this. It was Erica Badu talking about the part of her that needed to die in order for her to get to the next level. And I've been thinking about this because I've been calling it like 2024 was like my release season where I released people, I released thought process, I released a lot of things. And when you think about it, a part of you does have to die. And so when I asked this question to clients, some of the things that came up was they needed that part of them that was fearful, scared to do the thing, whatever that is. They wanted that part of them that had a lot of self-doubt to die in order for them to get to the next level. They wanted that part of them that didn't take risks to die in order to get to that next level. So I want us to kick this off really thinking deeply around what is my next level of success and what does have to die in order for me to get there. I don't know that we think about it enough. And when we really start digging deeper into, okay, so let's just say that it's fear. Some part of us that's fearful of getting hurt, of losing money, of being rejected. Let's say that's the part of us that needs to die. How do we kill it? How do we release it? How do we release that side of us? It's really something for us to really think about because many times we sometimes think other people, other things, there are things outside of us that need to get done in order for us to get to that next level of success. But I want to put the responsibility back in our own hands. I want to put the responsibility back in our own hands. And I recently read somewhere or saw somewhere the higher the standards, the lower the anxiety. The higher the standards, the lower the anxiety. And it really got me thinking, I think that's right. I think that is absolutely right. So when my standards are higher, when I choose to not be around people because I don't feel aligned with them anymore, less anxiety. When I choose myself and I say no to something else because I'm saying yes to myself, there's a little anxiety, but it's lower. Right? You ever go to that party, to that thing, to that networking? You ever say yes to something that you didn't want to say yes to? Your anxiety, and it's almost like you're betraying yourself. It doesn't feel good. And when we do things that don't feel good, how can we get to that next level of success? If we're continuing to please everybody else, if we're continuing to do things that we don't want to do, or that don't feel aligned anymore, or we're just doing things without thinking because that's what we've always done. We always went to dinner with friends on Friday or whatever it may be. So, what does that next level of success actually look like for you? Definitely something to journal on, definitely something to stop and think about that. I have very successful friends who had beautiful careers. And even they, when they actually stopped to say, wait a second, yes, I've had a great career. And yes, I've done a lot of great things, but I've actually made more money for somebody else than I've ever made for myself. It did not feel good when they stopped and actually started thinking about that. When they actually started thinking, yeah, I've built this amazing brand, that's attached to somebody else. It's attached to somebody else's brand. It did not make them feel good. So I want you to stop today and ask yourself, how can I be more aligned in my actions? And what is it that I have to kill or release? Or what part of me has to die for me to get to that next level? Because when we do stop, when we do take a moment to say, hang on, what do I want? What does Jessica need? Right. And when I started this podcast and I was looking for the title, and I thought about actually, Nancy had helped me. Many people on my Instagram helped me. And then Nancy really helped me refine this title. I loved Success Unscripted because I know so many people that just built their own path, including myself, right? Just built their own path. But I do not know that I actually ever stopped and said, what does true success look and feel like for me from the inside out? I don't know that I was as intentional as I would have liked thinking back. It was more probably out of necessity, probably out of desire, right? I had a desire. So I wanted to live a certain type of lifestyle. I wanted to provide for my kids, all of those things, but truly stop to think, okay, where am I now and where do I want to go? I don't know that I did that. I didn't. And when I think about my friends who are successful, when they stopped and started thinking, you know what? Hey, hang on a second. I need to start doing it for me. What is it that I need to do for me? They started years and years after having successful careers. They finally started podcasts. They started businesses outside of what they were doing, like their main job. And it's exciting to see. It's so exciting to see. So I want that for all of us. I recently heard of a VP that I know. He has actually an SVP title in a large organization, and after 10 years of service, he wore that banner of that organization on his chest proudly. They let him go. They just let him go. And that is how business works, right? People, organizations have to make business decisions, but we also have to decide what we want for us. And the same way they make business decisions that may hurt us, we are responsible for deciding, what life do we want? What does success look like on all fronts? And I was speaking with someone who also works in a large organization, and I've been telling them for years, start creating whatever. They're very creative. Like, they need creative outlets. And I'm like, go start painting, take paint classes, take photography, whatever it is that kind of lights you up inside, start doing it. And eventually you'll figure out what that next step, what that next level of success is for you. But we have to be responsible for our own success. And so, what does that next level of success look like for you? What does that next level of success look like for you? What has to be released? And how can you be more intentional around what that next level of success looks like for you in 2025? And one of the things that I feel can help us is really staying in tune and in touch with our intuition, our gut, right? And they say we have three brains. We have the brain, we have the heart brain, and we have the gut brain. And I don't know about you, but I know every time I have gone against my gut, I've always regretted it. And when I am in my head too much, it's almost like I'm battling with myself. And it makes it even more challenging for me to make a decision sometimes. And our heart, yeah. I like to make sure that my heart, my brain, and my gut are in alignment. And I do that by, see, our gut will always speak to us first if we're listening. And so when you go ahead and you start thinking about, okay, what's my next level of success? Before you let the fear come in, before you talk yourself out of some greatness, before you start talking about what didn't already happen or what you've already tried, just allow yourself to get in tune with your body. And so I do that through breath work and through meditation. All right. I know a lot of people are cold plunging these days. I actually did one, my first one for the first time, and I lasted almost 5 minutes, which I was super proud of. That may help. I don't know, whatever that is for you, but how do you get more in touch with your intuition? Because we all have it. And the more we can practice that, I think the easier it gets for us to understand what our next move is. And so when I'm stuck and trying to decide, okay, do I want to go this way or do I want to go that way? Oprah said too, she said her biggest regret was before she started her network and ended the Oprah show, she wished she would have done nothing. And she says, when you do not know what to do, nothing. Now, we don't want to get stuck in doing nothing. Let me be clear. We don't want to get stuck in doing nothing, but we do want to get centered. We want to get centered. And I believe in action, we can refine what we want because when we know what we don't want, then we know what we do want. We have more clarity on what we do want. So I do think action is important, but I don't think consistent movement all of the time is good. And so that's actually one of my goals this year in 2025 is to slow down a little bit, slow down in order to speed up. And sometimes you don't have to be everywhere. Sometimes you don't have to be in movement all the time. Like you need to slow down. That's what I believe. That's what I know has worked for me. And what I want for you is for you to figure out, okay, what is it that I need? We're going to clarify. What does the next level of success look like for me? What is it that I have to release, let go, kill, whatever? What is it that I need to let go of? And what I don't want us to do is start thinking about, oh, yeah, I need to cut that person off and that person off. No, it's about you. It's not about them. It's about you figuring out what you need for you. When we start looking at everybody else outside of us, we're missing the point. We're missing the point. It's about going inside and finding the success from the inside out. That's what it's about. That's what it's about. So I also want us to be clear that this process, while I may make it sound easy, I know it isn't. I know it isn't. I know firsthand it isn't. And there is like a mourning period where I really want to do that because I'm so used to doing that. And that's what feels good. That's my comfort zone. And then when you're not doing that, it feels better, but does it? And it's this really confusing thing in your brain when you start deciding to choose you and to choose better. And so let's say you're used to going out with the guys on Friday night, but that is not helpful for you because you want to wake up early to go to the gym, or you just don't want to do that anymore, right? There will be still something about it that makes you want to still go do that, even though you know it's no longer aligned with you. And so I want us to allow for that mourning period, for that those moments where it's I really still want to do that, but I know it's not for me anymore. So I want us to allow for that because they say success is lonely at the top. I don't know about that, but I do know it does get lonely on the way because you're finding your new people and you're finding your new people and you're finding your new people and you're shedding the old people and the old thought process and the old things that you used to like doing and you're changing. So maybe you go from like the bar to museums and maybe you go from the bar to doing something else and learning and growing and hanging out with completely different people. And I don't know about you, but for me, Those things are exciting to me, even though, like I said, we're going to allow for a mourning period. So, what does success look like to you from the inside out? What does success look like to you from the inside out? So if you haven't chosen your word for 2025 yet, I want you to go ahead and do that. Think about what's your word for 2025? What is going to be your North Star? A lot of people think about things like consistency or discipline, or you could have a phrase maybe, right? Audacious. It could be bold. And so if you have picked your word for 2025, I want you to start asking yourself, how am I showing up that way? If it's kind, if it's maybe you want to be more loving, like you want to give more love because you want to receive more love. Maybe it's if it's discipline, how are you being more disciplined? How? What's the action behind your 2025 word, your North Star, the one that's going to help you guide you to your next level of success for 2025? Maybe it's you want to improve your relationships. So if you want to improve your relationships, what is it that you are doing to make sure that happens? Right? It's our responsibility. It's our responsibility. So we opened this podcast today with us asking ourselves, what needs to die? What part of you needs to die in order for you to get to your next level of success? I want you to ponder that. I want you to ponder that. I want you to think about that. I want you to go ahead and DM me on Instagram or TikTok at Coach Jessica Rivera and let me know what came up for you. What's the first thing that came up for you when I said, what needs to die in order for you to get to your next level of success? Do you have to be a better communicator, right? Do you have to articulate your value more? Do you have to start letting go of that little negative voice inside of your head? How do you calm him down? How? What are your daily routines and practices in order to calm them down? What's interesting is I remember we're action takers, right? I attract overachievers, highly successful people. So I know if you're here, you're one of those. And we like action, right? We like to do and achieve and all of those things. And I remember I was listening to a friend and I don't know why they tell you to like meditate in the morning and do this practice. By the time you know it, you're doing all these things for an hour. And I had already been working on myself for a really long time. And I believe in meditation and I believe in all of those things. And I just let her talk. But this is now 2 or 3 years later. And now she's in her practice. She's meditating. She's understanding that while I know it's easier for us to just get up and do and not even think, we're not even thinking, we're on autopilot. Half of us, many of us are on autopilot every single day. You wake up, you scroll through the morning paper, like Instagram or whatever it is, and you're just going. You're going. We don't even take a moment to gift ourselves, to calm our minds down, to try and shut down that negative voice in our mind and understand, okay, how do I do that? To take a moment to just listen to the breeze, listen to ocean, listen to whatever, but calm your mind down in order to calm the judge down. Because we all have them. We all have him or her. For me, my judge sounds like a man. What is that daily routine that you're going to gift yourself? And I want that for us. I want that for us. I want us to start recognizing and understanding, what do I need? I think that's a question we need to ask ourselves a little bit more. What is it that I need in this moment? So we started off this podcast with, What is it that has to die? What is it that I have to kill in order to get to what part of us has to die for me to get to my next level of success? It's an important question. And it's a question that I don't know we ask ourselves enough. Because to me and for me, true success starts from the inside out. I don't know about you, but I've known plenty of people that have plenty of money and they are miserable. They don't have the relationships that they want. They are unhappy people. And I don't want that for us. I don't want that for us. So to me, it starts with looking within. It always starts with you. I often say, you're the problem. I don't mean you. I mean, like you, everybody, right? We're our own problem. And since we are the problem, we are also the solution. What is it that you are going to do in order to release the comfort zone that you are currently in? Kill off whatever it is you need to kill off in order to get to that next level of success. And I'm telling you, it's not the person that came to mind. It's how you're dealing with that situation. Because if somebody is challenging you right now, that person, that situation is here to grow you, believe it or not. That person and that situation that is challenging is here to grow you. And I want you to think about this for a moment. You've learned the most from your challenges. We all have. You have learned the most from your challenges. And because you've learned the most from your challenges, this is your opportunity to practice that person that you want to become in these challenging situations. And I recently had a situation where you talk about success, right? Success and really finding success from the inside out and all of those things. And I've done this work for so long. And I was so upset the way I have not been upset in a lot of years, a lot of years. And I was upset that somebody was talking about me, and people talk bad about me, right? It's happened many times. And I'm like, I brush it off. Allow people to think whatever they want to think. I know my heart. I know I know how I treat people, and I'm pretty confident there. But this was somebody that I adore, somebody that I really care about, someone that I thought I had built up enough, what Stephen Covey calls like emotional bank account for that person, that I would be able to get the benefit of the doubt if I said something wrong. Cause I will, listen, I'm human, right? I'm going to say wrong things. Um, and they were talking poorly about me, and I was so upset. I was like in tears, like literally for 24 hours. I was so upset. Um, and when I finally ended the pity party and allowed myself these feelings, and I was trying to do things differently, right? Because typically, your girl here, I'll try to get over the emotion, right? I try to get over the thing that's bothering me, but I wanted to do it differently because I know that it's better for you to go through the emotions, to go through the challenge. And part of my success is really feeling my inner architecture being really strong and being really solid. And when things bother me, because of course they do, that I allow myself to work through those emotions. But I had not been this upset in a very long time. And when I finally got out of my pity party, like I said, I asked myself, what am I attached to here? I typically ask myself, what do I have to learn? What is this here to teach me? But in this case, I asked myself, what am I attached to? And what I realized was that I was attached to me or them thinking that I was a good person, them thinking that I had been there for them, because that's what I felt that I had done over many years. I was attached to being like the fun person, the person that's always there for them, like all of those things. And I think that I have been. But this person was upset by something I said. And if I am going to allow myself to go through the feelings, I have to allow them to have their feelings also. And I have to be grounded in the fact that maybe I did say something wrong that offended them, right? I apologized. I apologized. And I know ultimately everything is going to be fine, but I was very upset. And I think what it taught me, if I want to reflect, because to me, success is really around how you feel on the inside. Again, success starts from the inside out for me. And really having strong relationships and really understanding and mastering difficult conversations and all of these things. And life will teach us that once we think we're a master, something else is going to come up and remind us, well, you still have something to work on. So that was me. What I think it was here to teach me was that I I had an opportunity here to really, number one, show love to myself and to them. And I think I would have handled it a little bit differently. And it reminded me that these situations will come up again. And now I'm ready to be grounded in who I am today. And the other thing it reminded me was that, like, you have a certain type of energy with somebody, right? So, like, um, my sister and I, we have an energy. We live in that same energy all of the time. Like, we laugh a lot. We go into these laughing fits and all of that, right? And we have energies that are sometimes attached to these old relationships. And when they're not good, sometimes, and I fell back into that old energy. And so it was able to wake me up and say, what I realized was like, oh yeah, I went right back into like the old ass, like ancient energy. And so now I can handle myself differently. And now I know how I want to treat this other person, and I want to show them more love, and I want to show them a different energy. And I know it starts with me. So I say all this to say that, like I said before, because we are the problem, we are also the solution. And the way I see it is, if you want real success, it starts with you looking in the mirror. It starts with you releasing the areas, the parts of you that you no longer want to show up. It starts with you when you go through these challenging moments, challenging situations, you taking a look and saying, how did I contribute to this? Yeah, it may have been messed up, but how did you contribute to that? And so I'm going to leave you with this. I want you to take a moment and gift yourself 5 minutes, 10 minutes a day to really think about, what is it that you need in this moment? And what is it that you need to let go of? And then, of course, what does your next level of success look like? Thank you so much for being here. If you enjoyed any of this, remember, DM me and let me know what part of you needs to die. What part of you are we killing? What part of you are we letting go for 2025? And don't forget to go ahead, follow and subscribe. Leave me a review. I would really, really appreciate that. And go ahead and share this episode with a friend. I'm so excited that I'm here with you, and we will talk soon. Take care. Let's talk about something that affects every single aspect of your life: communication. Let's think about it. From the second you wake up, whether you are speaking to yourself, speaking to your team, or speaking to a client, or navigating difficult conversations, communication is in all of it. And if you lack communication skills, you're making your life more difficult. And this is why I created Communicate to Lead. We will navigate through communicating with yourself, communicating with others, presenting and persuading, and of course, public speaking, so that you can create the real impact you want in your life and in your business. Oh, and the bonus is you will create deeper, long-lasting relationships and be able to say everything that's on your mind. So if you want to join me in the next cohort of Communicate to Lead, DM me at Coach Jessica Rivera, or check out the website at jessicarivera.co.